Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is trading at the all-time high, and in the short term is getting ready for another major breakout after first we grabbed a lot of liquidity to the downside as expected. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment alongside Ethereum, which is also heading towards a major bullish price target. But this Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart could change everything. So I'll be talking about that later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the Bitcoin ETF news today, because just yesterday we saw another massive net inflow of $223 million of new money flowing into the Bitcoin ETFs. Because breaking it down, we saw BlackRock, IBIT accumulate another approximately $1/3 billion just yesterday, just BlackRock alone. And so this now means BlackRock's actually holding more Bitcoin than MicroStrategy. And keep in mind, it took a few years for MicroStrategy to accumulate their massive amount of Bitcoin, whereas BlackRock, it only took them 2 months to accumulate roughly the same amount of Bitcoin as MicroStrategy. And then of course we saw FBTC, which is the Fidelity Bitcoin ETF, have another inflow of around $130 million. And then as always, we saw Grayscale have another outflow again, which this time was around a $300 million outflow, which basically means Grayscale dumped around $300 million worth of Bitcoin just yesterday. But overall, when we're looking at all of the inflows and outflows, once again, we're looking at a $223 million net inflow for the Bitcoin ETFs just yesterday. And so as always, if we're seeing net inflows, this is good news, because that basically means that's new money coming into Bitcoin and buying up Bitcoin to back the ETFs. And so ultimately, if we continue to see large net inflows each weekday into the spot Bitcoin ETFs, then soon enough, that is going to push the price of Bitcoin much higher, because there's only so much Bitcoin to go around. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin charts, looking at the weekly Bitcoin chart, right now the price of Bitcoin is basically sitting almost exactly where the previous all-time high was sitting at, very close to 69,000. And in fact, over the last one day, we saw Bitcoin set a new record high at around $70,000 before seeing a quick short-term rejection from that 70K level. But as I've been saying over and over again recently on the channel, especially over the last few weeks, I've been saying that previous all-time high at around 69,000, give or take, should act as short-term resistance. And so once again, in case you're new to this, short-term resistance basically means the price should somewhat struggle around that level, struggle breaking out to the upside, but ultimately the larger trend is bullish, which means ultimately we should expect a breakout to the upside sometime soon. And so that's basically the situation right now. We're still very bullish in terms of the larger trend. It's just in the imminent short term, we're seeing a bit of struggle around that all-time high breakout, which was expected. And if we're zooming into the daily Bitcoin chart, once again, as I said in my last video, we're seeing the DXY dump to the downside, which is good news for Bitcoin and crypto. And if you want to know more details about this chart right here and exactly what it means for Bitcoin and crypto, then check out my last video here on the channel, because in that video that I posted yesterday, I talked much more into detail about this chart right here. But anyway, taking a look at the 8-hour Bitcoin chart, and once again, we did have this short-term bearish divergence, which played out just over a couple of days. And remember, a bearish divergence usually plays out in the form of either choppy sideways price action or sometimes a slight short-term pullback, which is basically what we saw over the course of around 1 to 2 days. But as of right now, we're starting to see the price of Bitcoin attempt to push higher in the short term. And so, of course, if we create a new higher high in the price in the candle closes, that invalidates this bearish divergence. But if we're still seeing the price in higher highs while the RSI is still seeing lower highs, then of course we could still form a new bearish divergence if we confirm a lower high in place again in the RSI. But ultimately, once again, if we break out and confirm higher highs in the price in the candle closes above this previous high, that would invalidate this bearish divergence. So ultimately we would have no bearish divergence, because we would have to reconfirm a new bearish divergence in that situation. But once again, as I've been saying over the last few days, I want to make it extra clear that this short-term bearish divergence is only talking about the much shorter term, as in the day-to-day price action. So just because we have one bearish signal on a smaller time frame, that does not mean we're going to see a massive crash or a massive trend reversal on larger time frames, because once again, this is just something in the short term, which is playing out just in the short term here. And if we zoom further into the short term, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, as I said in my last video, we're actually seeing the price somewhat consolidate sideways just in the much shorter term here between support and resistance. First of all, we have this area of support sitting in between around 65,000 to 66,000, and we have this area of resistance sitting in between around 67,500 to 68,500. But remember, we do have that significant resistance at around 69,000 based on the old all-time high. And as of right now, we're yet to see a 4-hour candle close actually confirm above 69,000, but soon enough, in my opinion, of course, the trend is bullish, so soon enough, we're likely going to see a breakout very soon above 69,000. Because if we're simply looking at even the short-term trend here, the lows and the highs, we're actually seeing higher lows and higher highs, especially more recently. The price is just pushing to the upside. But keep in mind, we're just about to go into a weekend, and over the weekend, the spot Bitcoin ETFs do not trade, which means we don't get the inflows or outflows from the ETFs over the weekend. But perhaps next week, when the US stock market opens back up again and the Bitcoin ETFs begin trading again, we could end up seeing another major move to the upside if we're seeing those massive inflows into the spot Bitcoin ETFs. And just measuring out a short-term price target, once we finally confirm a breakout above around $69,000 with candle closes above that level, then just a short-term measured move based on a possible bull flag here, that will give us a price target at around $73,000, which basically means once we see a confirmed breakout above around 69K, we could end up seeing a quick 6% move to the upside straight up towards around 73,000. But remember, that's just a short-term price target. Of course, on the larger time frames, we can continue this larger bullish trend much higher. And if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, whether you think we're bullish or bearish or going to chop around sideways, you can make money in all of that price action. And personally, I take trades just like that over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link down below this video, it will take you to this page right here where you can get an exclusive 200 USDT airdrop position. And so once again, if you're trading crypto anyway, if you're looking to enter a long position or a short position, either way, you can claim this airdrop position to basically enter that trade and get profits essentially for free. And so if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trade, you might as well check out that link down below this video to get that extra airdrop position and those extra bonuses. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bitflex as well in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And in fact, if you use that link over to Bitflex, you can claim extra exclusive bonuses, but only if you use that link down below this video. And so once again, if you're trading crypto anyway, you might as well check out those links if you want to get those extra bonuses for your next trade. But anyway, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and over the last one day, once again, we saw the price hit $70,000 for the first time in Bitcoin's history. But what we also saw just after creating that new all-time high in the price of Bitcoin was a quick move back to the downside to hit that major area of liquidity that I exactly talked about in my last video. Because if you watched my last video, you would know about this major area of liquidity that I said yesterday, which was sitting at around 66.4K approximately. So I said it's very likely we could see a move down towards that level before heading back up. And as you can see, we saw the price of Bitcoin go pretty much exactly to that level that I said yesterday, and then we saw a bounce back to the upside as expected. And so this is why it's also important to pay attention to important levels of liquidity, which I also share pretty much every day when there's actually levels of liquidity here in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. And so if you want to be prepared for those quick short-term moves to those exact levels on the chart, then make sure you subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos. And now if we're taking a look at the Ethereum chart, this is ETH to USD on the weekly time frame, and right now we're continuing to see that major breakout above that previous important area of resistance, which was sitting in between around 3.4K to 3.5K. And the next weekly candle close confirms in around 1.5 days from now, approximately. And basically, if that weekly candle close, which at the time of recording this video, it's looking likely, if that weekly candle close confirms above around 3.4k to 3.5k, then that officially confirms the breakout above this resistance, even though we're obviously already breaking out well above that resistance. And the next important level of resistance on the weekly time frame for the price of ETH is simply the old all-time high, which is sitting at around 4.8 to 4.9k, so keep that in mind. And of course, the larger trend at play is still extremely bullish. As I've been saying for a long time now on the channel, we're still forming significant higher lows and higher highs here on the weekly time frame, which is a bullish trend. And we're also seeing the price of ETH still head up towards this massive bullish price target that I've been talking about here on the channel since the price was all the way back down here at around $2,000. And so once again, as I've been saying since back then, this price target is sitting at around 4.3k approximately. And just recently, over the last one day, we did actually see the price of ETH hit around $4,000 on some exchanges. And so we still have around a $300 move to the upside still to go before actually hitting this specific price target just for this pattern right here. But obviously, this is just one price target for one pattern. So obviously, the price can actually go beyond that price target because we're still technically within that larger bullish trend once again. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, of course, right now we're still looking very bullish in terms of the trend and momentum. Right now, we're clearly trending to the upside in the price action with strong bullish momentum, fairly consistent bullish momentum here in the daily Ethereum MACD. And so once again, as I've been saying almost every day since all the way back down here, my trading strategy for Ethereum right now is to simply long Ethereum. And in fact, I've been longing Ethereum since all the way back down here, which I've been sharing here on the channel since back then. And so right now I still have that long position open, and basically I have no exact take profit for that position. And instead what I'm simply doing is moving my stop loss further into profits as that trade moves further into profits. And so by doing that, I'm not capping my upside potential, I'm just leaving the trade open rather than perhaps closing the trade too early. And also by moving my stop loss further into profits, eventually when we see some sort of major pullback or crash or anything like that sometime in the future, of course, at that point, that will just trigger my stop loss and exit me out of the trade automatically in massive profits. And once again, I took that trade right there over on Bybit. And if you want to claim those extra bonuses or that free airdrop, then check out that link down below this video over to Bybit if you want to maximize your profits in crypto like I'm doing right now. And if we're taking a look at the ETH to BTC chart, this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. And in case you're new to all of this, basically if this chart goes to the downside, it means Ethereum is underperforming Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is doing better than Ethereum in terms of prices. Whereas if this chart is going to the upside, it means Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. So it means Ethereum against the US dollar is having bigger gains than Bitcoin against the US dollar if this chart is going to the upside. And so in other words, if this chart is bearish, it does make more sense to hold Bitcoin over Ethereum. But if this chart is bullish, it technically makes more sense to hold more Ethereum over Bitcoin. And what we've seen for quite a long time now, since around August to September 2022, is a major downtrend in ETH BTC, which basically means Bitcoin has been doing quite a lot better than Ethereum since around September 2022. But potentially very soon, this could all change because right now we're getting very close to potentially a major breakout above this significant downward sloping line of resistance. And on top of that, we're also currently bouncing from significant support, the same support where we also saw a previous bounce from. And on top of all of that, we're also seeing a significant bullish divergence on the weekly time frame with lower lows confirmed in the price action in the candle closes and higher lows confirmed in the RSI on the weekly time frame. And so once again, we're looking at a few different bullish signals here. And so all we're waiting on now is just a confirmed breakout above this line of resistance on the ETH BTC chart. And in case you're wondering, this line of resistance is sitting at approximately 0.06 Bitcoin per Ethereum. And so once we see the price of Ethereum actually break out above 0.06 Bitcoin per Ethereum, then that will be the point where we could potentially flip much more bullish again in terms of the trend. And so as always, this is not personal financial advice because I don't know your personal financial situation, but personally in my situation, if we see that confirmed breakout above this descending line of resistance, then in that case, personally, I will convert some of my Bitcoin holdings to Ethereum. So essentially selling some Bitcoin to buy more Ethereum. And so by doing that, if this flips more bullish, then Ethereum would be outperforming Bitcoin, and basically at a higher price up here somewhere, I could convert that Ethereum back to Bitcoin and actually make more Bitcoin. And so that's just a strategy that I'm looking at moving forward, especially if we confirm that bullish signal. But once again, right now, I've not done anything just yet. And as always, that's not personal financial advice. And just giving you a really quick update on the price of Solana. Right now, we're still trading slightly above this important area of resistance, sitting in between around 120 to 140. But as of right now, we have not yet technically confirmed the breakout above 140 because we still need to see at least a weekly candle close confirm well above $140. And once again, the next weekly candle closes in around 1.5 days from now. But either way, technically speaking, in terms of the trend and momentum here in the larger timeframes, we're still clearly looking bullish, forming significant higher lows and higher highs in terms of the trend here. And once we actually confirm a breakout above around $140, then that previous area of resistance in between 120 to 140 should become new support. And in that case, the next significant level of resistance for the price of Solana is simply the old all-time high, which is sitting at around $250 to $260. And once again, if you want to take those trades in the price of any crypto to maximize your profits in crypto, then make sure to check out those links down below this video to also claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, if you're new to all of this, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen, because the video in the top left shows you how you can open and close long positions or short positions to make money if the price is bullish or bearish, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.